Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Reverend Dr. Suzi Schadle. I'm the minister here at Suncoast Center for Spiritual Living, and I'm so glad to see you all here. Did everybody get their seeds? Anybody without seeds? It's a person without seeds. Okay. Ed, do you need seeds?
I got them at home.
You got them at home? You can have more. We've got some extras. So we've been, for the month of October, we've been spending time in the Garden of Awakening. And so the first week we focused on preparing the soil and pulling out weeds. And the second week we focused on planting seeds of awakened desire in our intentions, our most impassioned intentions. Last week we talked about focusing on nurturing those seeds, those intentions with affirmation and attention, specifically the affirmation and attention of love and prayer. And this week we want to focus on cultivating those seeds into being through our actions, through our belief and our actions. So everything's coming together so that we can have blossoms. Next week, wow, who knows what can happen. We may be blooming Halloween candy. It's possible. So I want to start with a quote that I'm sure many of you have heard, or you've at least heard part of. It comes from Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, and he says this: "Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one elementary truth, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help the one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no person could have dreamed of or would have dreamed come his way. Whatever you can think or dream, you can do. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. Begin it now." How many things have we put off and put off and put off and put off? And we're waiting for what exactly? Well, I've got a million excuses, and I'm going to talk about some of them today. But so often, we put things off and we wait, like something magical is going to happen that changes things without us having to do anything about it. And the reality is, we must be active participants in our own lives. It's kind of funny how that works. You know, our lives are not a spectator sport. We actually have to be part of them. Otherwise, you're probably living someone else's life, and they're probably not happy with you. Now, knowledge is one of the things that can prepare us for decisive and purposeful action. Knowledge is a good thing. We talk about that a lot in this teaching, that thinking and knowledge and using our minds can be very, very powerful in our lives. And there is a power and a presence within each one of us that knows all that we need to know exactly when we need to know it. That power and presence is spirit within us and all around us. And we can tap into that unlimited power and presence and knowledge at any moment that we so choose. When we get conscious and intentional, we can tap into that. We have abundant resources within us and all around us, and so often we struggle to try to figure it all out on our own. And then finally, it's kind of like, you know, when you get a new device or something, you struggle to learn how to use it, and then finally you go, geez, maybe I could read the directions. It's the last thing we think of. But knowledge, that knowledge within, that ability to tap into the knowledge of the universe, is power in potential. But it only comes into being when we tap into it, when we activate it, when we utilize it, and it opens us up to all kinds of opportunities and possibilities that we've yet to dream of. But it opens us up to start that dreaming, to start not only dreaming, but thinking, that could be so in my life. Knowledge becomes that power when we activate it in the direction of our dreams. So the first thing is to get really conscious and intentional on what it is that you want to experience and manifest in your life, and then really focus on that thing and tap into the abundant knowledge within and all around us so that we can move it forward and take the action that the guidance from within tells us. And sometimes the guidance comes from without. Sometimes a person walks up to you and says exactly the thing you need to hear. That just, you know, is the tipping point for something that you're working on. If we're paying attention, if we're awake to it, if we're open to it. So the seeds, sometimes though, that we plant, sometimes those intentions that we want to bring forward require some specialized skills in order to move things into action. So it's sort of a constant learning process, if you will. We're not done yet. Until we're 6 feet under, we're not done learning. And actually, I'm pretty sure it keeps going after that. So school's never out. School's out for summer, but it's never really out, okay? Knowledge, once we move it into action, has the ability to transmute excuses and negativity. Knowledge can move us into action, and when we start to take action, that moves out or transmutes any excuses or negativity that we have that's holding us back. Knowledge moving into action is power. And those actions that we take then lead to other actions, and then we create sort of this cascade or tidal wave of actions that become a power that moves us in the direction of our dreams and intentions. So it's got a wonderful cascading effect, if you will. Once we start to utilize that action, move it, or utilize that knowledge, move it into action, and then see what's the next action step that's being called forward. So action plus that knowledge that we have wipes out excuses and I can'ts. I can't. How many times have you said that and been a liar? You know, how many times have I said that and been a liar? Oh, I can't do that. And then I did it. I'm like, well, okay, when was I telling the truth? You know, we either have results or we have excuses for why we don't have results. And the one who gets to choose which one you pick is you. We each get to choose. Am I going to have results or am I going to have excuses why I don't have results? The excuses and the I can'ts produce paralyzing fear, and they literally kill the seed before it has a chance to take root. It's a killer, for sure. And those dreams get zapped and you say, I can't, and guess what? Then you prove yourself right. You know, sometimes I think that we either consciously, mostly unconsciously, are busy gathering evidence to prove ourselves right when we get into some of those negative excuse-building modes. And we start to pull up the evidence. See, I told you I couldn't do it. See, I told you this wouldn't work. Gathering evidence, see, I'm right. I'm bummed out, but I'm right. You know, because I didn't get what I was after, but I'm right. So you got to decide what's more important. Excuses, as you may have experienced, zap your energy. Excuses don't build energy, they zap your energy. I'm going to give you a few of the excuses. See if you hear one of your favorites. And if you do hear it, say thank you very much and let it go. It's too hard. It takes too long. Somebody else already did it. Not enough time. We don't have enough money. People might criticize and laugh. You know what? Pretty well guaranteed they will. Get over it. I don't know how. I don't know how. Now you're recognizing yourselves, right? People say it's impossible. What are you doing listening to them in the first place? I might fail. Yeah, you might. You get up 7 times, you fall down 7 times and get up 8. You might fail. You just might. We go on and on and on with the excuses and the I can'ts. You know, think of some of your favorites. Think of them, and as soon as you think of them, say, thank you very much, goodbye. Thank you very much, letting you go. Thank you very much, don't need you. Thank you very much, bye-bye now. Let them go. They do not serve a useful purpose. You can literally feel the energy going out of you, almost like when we slowly let the air out of a balloon. You notice how that is? And sometimes they actually squeal. You know how you let the air out of a balloon? Like, so sometimes those excuses will try to hang on for dear life to you. Don't let them. Here's a good idea. Let the air out of that. Boom, let them all go. Let them all go. Don't wait. Here's one of our primary reasons for waiting. Do not wait until you have solved all of the imagined problems and obstacles to begin. You'll never begin if you do. Don't wait for that. See every one of those problems and obstacles as opportunities and possibilities, and get creative about how you can use them to take deeper and further and more powerful action. Don't see them as roadblocks, but see them as stepping stones. Don't let them trip you up. The only one who can let them trip you up is you. Action literally lifts us out of fear and out of excuses and expands our talents and our skills and our abilities and our knowledge. So take action. Take action. Move into action. Action produces results. And thoughts are the cause of all of our actions. First, all of creation takes place first in mind and then in manifestation. It always takes place here first. So our thoughts are the generator of ideas, and those ideas get put into action through the power of our thought and our feeling, our passionate feeling about the seeds and the intentions that we planted. Positive thoughts, you're going to find this difficult to believe, but positive thoughts create positive actions. Wow, that's cool. So my suggestion to you would be to surround yourself with people who have positive thoughts. Fill yourself up with positive thoughts, which will help you to move into those positive actions that will cultivate the seeds of intention that you've planted. Choose what you truly, truly, truly want to manifest, experience, and express in your life. Don't choose every seed that comes along. Not every seed is yours to plant. Choose the one or the ones that are truly your call to bring forth and to manifest. And cultivate those with your positive thoughts and your actions that derive out of those. Ultimately, it's not just about doing all of our spiritual practice, which tends to focus on meditation and prayer and sitting on our pillow and oming and things like that. Those are all very powerful internal processes that help us to build up to the point of taking action outwardly in our human experience. But ultimately, we must take action. Again, I know you've heard this quote before, but I love it. It's one of my favorites of Ernest Holmes. He said, "Inspiration without application is hallucination." We will not manifest anything if we just sit around imagining or being inspired and then not doing anything with it. We must move it into being. And we are the movers and shakers, my friends. We're the movers and shakers. Move that intention and that inspiration into manifestation with actions that we take. It's not unspiritual to act. Sometimes I think we think that. Well, if I just kind of move, everything will just happen. We're here in this form in order that we do take action and bring forth the inspirations that we catch from Spirit. We're the only ones who can. There's the Ricky Byers song that says, Spirit needs us. I know the first time some people heard that, Spirit needs us, whoa, isn't that sacrilege? No, Spirit does need us. Spirit needs us to manifest all that inspiration into the human experience. So we are a critical part of the formula, my friends, of creation. Begin, do something, begin. Because beginning helps us to gain momentum. It's kind of like a flywheel. You know how you start woo, 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 and then woo, 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 and starts to gain momentum. Then we can ride on the big momentum that's created out of starting the action. And then it starts to cascade, starts to move even faster. Take inventory of your resources so that you know what you have that's supporting you, what you already have supporting you, your resources like your talents and your abilities and your skills and your knowledge and your experience. And we have a ton of it in this room. What if we brought all of that to bear on the seeds that we plant in our community garden? Imagine the possibilities. Imagine how fruitful that garden can be. Tap into your belief and your faith and the power and the presence of Spirit within you, within everyone that's sitting next to you, within all of us, within each of us, within the one of us. Imagine that. We have the most powerful creative partner available in the universe. And so often I think we either forget or we don't quite believe it. I remember one time I was going through kind of a dark night of the soul. I wish I only had to do one of those, but I've done several, just to make sure, But see, this is what I do for you guys. I go the dark night of the soul, so you don't have to. I can just tell you about it. Don't go there. But I remember thinking, I was thinking in the depths of the darkness that Spirit had abandoned me, and then I suddenly, boom, woke up and realized Spirit had never abandoned me, but I had abandoned Spirit. And that's why it felt so lonely and so dark and so deep. So remember that Spirit is within us and all around us, and always, always ready to create with us and to lift us up into that greater yet to be. So begin it now, begin it now. Take that leap of faith and know that the net will appear as soon as you take that leap. Start small, but do something. Start. You know, great examples all around us. You know, those giant redwood trees. How many have ever been to the redwood forest? You know, there's that one that you could drive your car through and stuff. Yeah. So those it's hard to imagine, but those started out as a tiny little seed and became that magnificent and mighty. How powerful is that? What a great example. Or a little more modern example, what about Apple computers? Apple started out in Steve Jobs' garage. Look at them now. Oh my gosh. They've taken over the world. I'm still holding out with Android, however, on my phone. But just imagine, I mean, if that's possible in nature and in human experience, imagine what's possible for each one of us and for all of us together, how powerful that can be. Because heartfelt dreams, heartfelt intentions are mightier than any fears or any excuses or I can'ts. And they literally, those heartfelt dreams, those visions of a greater possibility literally will pull us into it, to this perfect future from the seeds which we plant right now. So imagine where you want to be, and then see yourself there in that future, and then walk over to that future, turn around and see where you need to come from in order to be there. And start where you are and make those steps to get to that intended future that we're looking at. It's absolutely doable, absolutely possible, and the only way really it'll manifest. Either individually or collectively, doesn't matter. Respond to the dreams and the opportunities that come to us by exercising your power of choice rather than reacting from negativity or from unconscious habit. Too often we're asleep at the wheel. We're just asleep and we do the same things over and over and over again, and you know the rest, expecting a different result. Definition of insanity. You can't do the same thing over and over again and think that something's going to change. It won't. We're the change agents. We're the creators. And cultivating, here's the other thing that's really powerful. It's kind of that same thing about the momentum that's gained when we start to take action. When we start to take action on an individual level, cultivating our own garden also serves the community garden. So anything that we do for ourselves, we're literally doing for those around us. We're doing for them as well, for the world as well. We are helping to make the world a better place when we make ourselves a better place. Jacqueline Small wrote, "The secret of true service and fulfillment is simple. Develop your own qualities to their highest level, achieve your own soul's fulfillment, and the light of Spirit will express itself through everything you do so that all of humanity is served. It is not selfish for you to become fully self-expressed. In fact, it is a gift to all of us and to the universe. So be the fullness of who you are." Spirit cultivates that true, authentic inner essence from the very center of our being. It's within us. It is our soul. That is the soul of us. Allow that self, that soul, to bloom from the seed of Spirit that is within the garden of your soul. Allow that to happen. It brings you and others around you a sense of passion and purpose and meaning that is powerful as we begin to really experience and express it. The inspiration of Spirit was not meant to keep to ourselves. That inspiration of Spirit is really evident in people who serve others and allow themselves to be served. That's what the community gardening that I'm talking about. In Seattle, Lisa remembers this. Lisa was my roommate in Seattle years ago. We had all these neighborhoods all over the Seattle area had these community gardens, these pea patches. And neighbors who otherwise may not ever even bump into each other are out there weeding and feeding and doing what it took to grow this community garden. And everybody, and then they would exchange, vegetables and flowers and whatever, and everybody got to benefit from it. So that's what happens when we are willing to take that inspiration we're given as individuals and move it into service that we share, and that we're willing to receive that same thing from the rest of our community. That's what makes us strong. Now I'm going to sound like political campaign. I was going to say that makes us strong together. And I'm not, I'm not part of the, they're not paying me to say that. It's kind of like the Army phrase, be all that you can be. I'm thinking, darn, I wish the Army hadn't grabbed that. It was a good phrase. But, together we are stronger. Together we can create way more than is ever possible by any one of us individually. And so when we bring all of those seeds together and we let that full garden bloom, it's powerful beyond measure. Service to one another in community cultivates those seeds in the garden of awakening in the soil of our individual and our collective soul. It makes us powerful individually and communally. Makes us more than we are right in this moment. How many of you ever read The Little Prince? I love that book. That's one of my favorite. In fact, I have a Little Prince watch right here. I love that book. So the author of The Little Prince, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, wrote, "What ought we be? What ought we be? That is the essential question, the question that concerns spirit and not intelligence. For spirit impregnates intelligence with the creation that is to come forth, and later intelligence is brought to the bed of creation." So first is spirit. Spirit brings the intelligence, and then that intelligence gets applied to the creation that we're making. So getting in tight connection with that spirit within and all around, and take the guidance from there. And I guarantee you, part of that guidance will be to share the fullness of who we are with all whom we meet. And we're all the better off for it. The seeds planted in the soil of our soul then bloom through our own awakening by what we talked about, preparing the soil and pulling the weeds and nurturing it with prayer and love and action, and continuing to tend to the garden. That's one thing sometimes, that's what I used to do when I killed plants. I would start the thing, but then I would neglect the parts about tending it later. It's amazing how they don't do so well when you don't water any things. So we must continue to tend the garden by continuing to pull any weeds that pop up, and I guarantee you they will pop up every now and then, and pruning and feeding and doing all the things that we can do to nurture that garden, and keeping our attention on the growth of the garden individually and collectively and communally. The garden of our soul individually, and the garden of the community soul. Cultivating our own true nature into bloom increases our individual awareness of our connectedness and our oneness with all of life. And it supports the growth of all of life. As I mentioned earlier, and as Reverend Catherine mentioned in her prayer, today has been designated by the Association for Global New Thought as Global Oneness Day. A day for us to focus and remind ourselves and to be aware that we are all one. There is only one. We are part of that interconnectedness of the whole of spirit. And so what we do impacts the one, and the one impacts us. So we're not in this alone. We're in this totally together. And that's where our strength and our creativity comes from. And so awakening to the action that we must take is key to blooming the garden of our individual and our collective soul. The individual soul, the community soul, the global soul. It is key to blooming God's garden in our human experience. Our world, the world that we're experiencing, is an outpicturing of the seeds that we plant in our mind and in our heart and in our soul. So if we're growing weeds, we want to do a little work around that and get rid of the weeds, pull them by the root, and plant something else instead. Be spirit in bloom. It's what we're called here. Each of us are called here to be an individual spirit in bloom. Cultivate the garden of your soul. Cultivate the garden of your soul and serve humanity from that essence of who you truly are. There's something you are uniquely equipped to give and to share with all the rest of us. And there's certainly sort of growth steps, and it's kind of, as we're growing up, I think we go through these growth steps. Some of us stop at some of the steps and don't go further. You might know some of those people because I'm sure they're not here today, but some of them you may know, and if you've forgotten, you'll probably meet them again at Thanksgiving dinner. But anyway, here's some growth stages. We start out kind of selfish. When we're little kids, we're kind of selfish. We see that we're the center of the universe. We start kind of selfish where our focus is inward, really. It's on us. And then the second stage is selfhood, where the focus is more outward. It's like, what kind of impact or impression or expression am I making in the world? And then the third stage of growth is selfless, where the focus is one word, where we realize that we are all interconnected and that we are the one that comprises the whole. I just want to read you one little thing from, this was a thing that came through on the internet about Global Oneness Day. It says, Global Oneness Day is drawing attention to our oneness with spirit, each other, and all of life. Our relationship with God, Global Oneness Day, perfectly synergizes our shared vision of spirit in action. So we are the ones, by what we do, what we call for, we're the ones calling spirit into action in our individual lives and our collective lives on this planet. So let's do a lot more calling of spirit into action, in and through and as, each one of us, all of us, and one of us. Blooming our individual garden activates blooming the garden of the one. And we're each called to awaken to and to embrace and to live our individual blossom within that garden, that one magnificent garden of humanity and of spirit. Each one of us is a specific bloom in that garden, and it's what makes it vibrant and diverse and beautiful and whole. And self-growth, our own self-growth in that garden advances humanity's full blossoming. I don't believe that humanity can fully blossom to its greatest possibility until we each blossom into our individual greatest possibility. And so we don't want to wait, guys. We don't want to wait for that. I'm not the most patient person in the world, so I don't want to wait. That's the truth. I don't want to wait, so please don't make me. Atonement, we hear this word atonement, and most of us run from it, but I changed that to at-one-ment instead of atonement. At-one-ment is incomplete without each of us fully blooming. At-one-ment, and that makes the garden complete. Focus on cultivating your own true nature, your own authenticity. It supports the growth of each of us and all of us all around. Each of us is a unique blooming of the divine soul's expression. Mark Victor Hansen teaches us this: living on purpose provides an opportunity to enrich others by leaving your imprint in a positive way. Living on purpose puts you in choose-to mode and gives you power. You feel energized. When serving a higher purpose, your level of commitment expands. When you're living on purpose, you are making a difference, and you make a significant impact on your community. Live on the purpose that you've been called to individually, and it will contribute to the purpose of this community, of this town, of this nation, of this world, of all of humanity. So blessings on tending your garden of awakening. Cultivate the seeds of your dreams and your intentions by taking at least one action toward your blooming every day. One tiny action every day. And here are some possibilities. You might get really clear on what it is that you want to plant and write that down. Write it down so that you see it every day. Pray with faith and belief, and then open to receive what that prayer and that faith and belief attracts to you. Research and learn what it is that you need to learn to be better at what it is that you're bringing forth. Learn new things. Develop your current talents and abilities and skills and knowledge and experience. We're constantly evolving for the better. Identify what you think might be problems or obstacles so they don't surprise you, and then turn them into opportunities. Turn them into positive action. tap into divine inspiration and really listen to that divine inspiration and wisdom. Actually listen to it instead of going, oh yeah, I can't do that. No, 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 no. Listen to that. Take that guidance and put it into action. And apply action generously to that divine inspiration. And I guarantee you, what you become as the full blossom of your true self will be magnificent and will create a magnificent garden together. Blessings on your journey. So it is.